Hi, before we get into the video, I jumped right into it previously, and if you hadn't seen the January 2025 update, you might be clueless as to what the rest of this video was about. So, in summary, before I jump right into it, which I did in the rest of the video, there was an estate that I was able to acquire from a previously working watchmaker. Part of that was a Lorch 8mm watchmaker's lathe, which was this portion here, and it was loose. It was mounted on a watchmaker's desk, which I'm hoping to pick up in the near future. I just was able to get all the stuff and didn't have enough room to move the watch desk on the initial trip. Anyway, just this alone loose, and then a basic set of collets that came with it. So anyway, so the idea was, okay, what am I going to do with it? And I was looking to acquire, it turned out to be a 1/4, I thought originally it was 1/3, a 1/4 horsepower motor and a variable frequency drive to drive it. And as you can see here, it's kind of mounted up. But the video that I shot before this, which we're going to see now, is me setting this up for a base mock-up to at least get it running before I decide what I'm going to do or do a permanent installation. So this is by no means going to be the way it's going to be forever, but just grab some rough wood, mount it up, because I just wanted to get right into it. And I didn't want to set it all up only to find out that I hadn't considered something and had made a wonderful, whatever it was, only to find out that I was going to do it again anyway because it wasn't correct. So anyway, without further ado, please enjoy the rest of the video. Hi, this is Colin from Watch Off the Cuff. I picked up a small 1/3 horsepower motor today and a small VFD. This one's made by Fuji Electric. 110 volt input, 3-phase output. So it'll take 115 volts, 120 volt single phase input, plug it into a regular North American socket. It'll give me 230 volts 3-phase output. And then it's going to run this to 230 volt 3-phase motor. I've got I had a small pulley machined for me. It's a little bit rough. I did push them to make it in a hurry for me, but I didn't want to wait, so I might buff it up a little bit. I might make the groove a little bit deeper. This is a 3.5 belt. A replacement would be a 4 mil. Although already I thought this belt was in really good shape, but I already saw some cracking, which I think this was originally purchased in the 50s, this belt. Maybe in the 60s, maybe the previous owner changed it previously, so I don't know. But I think that this belt is going to give up the ghost sooner rather than later. But of course, I'm just excited to get it figured out, which is why I have it on a piece of plywood right now to mock up how I was going to do it. So I think that the best way to do is to have the lathe mounted here and then have the motor this way. The problem is the junction box with the cord coming out of it is this way. So I'll have to rotate. I'll probably take this box off, rotate it 90 degrees, and then the wire will come out here, cable, and will go into the output of the drive here, and then I'll get another 110 volt extension, whatever, and wire that into this as well. So I think that's going to work out. I think this is the way to do it. And then here's the kind of homemade collet holder that came with the lathe. And I think I probably just put it here. Now, I don't think this is going to stay, excuse me. I don't think this is going to stay like this. The plywood's rough. If anything that's small gets dropped, it's it's textured when it gets stuck in here. But I, desperately just want to mock it up and get it going. So we'll have to see what that looks like. And I was thinking, okay, I got a couple of things I got to worry about here. I was thinking about putting a small lip here so I could just bring it out, put it on the bench, and then plug it in and then store it away. My shop is only so big. Also I need to raise this up because I'm gonna have to mount this, and this is fairly thin. The screws might go through the other side, so I'm going to support it with another piece of wood underneath for now. And then I would like to have a little bit of a gap so that I can get the bolts through to mount this motor and possibly have it slotted so I can, once this is all mounted, I can move this back and forth a little bit and secure it so I can get the tension that I want on there as well. So that would mean I have to raise this up a little bit to make sure I've got enough room to have the bolts with a slot for the motor mount. And then I have to have a little bit extra down below beyond that so that I could have a lip here and I could press that up against the thing, and then this would be relatively secure. But I think that's got it. And I wanted to document the fact this is what I was going to lay it out. I tried to flip it around, but if I flip this motor around, I'll just show you. If I flip it around this way, then the lathe comes way over, and that doesn't seem to work. And I mean, maybe if I did that, I could move this here, but then again, there's some empty space here. Again, this is why I think I might have to just mock it up. Well, I'm going to mock it up like this and then see. This seemed much more logical. And then on top of that, I mean, it's a small belt, and I think the chance of getting my finger caught in that is fairly low. I don't like the idea of, if the VFD was over here, I don't like the idea of reaching crossways or even this way, where this way I can adjust the speed here with this pot on the front of the VFD. It's out of the way of everything and clearly out of the way of the belt. And then I've got lots of room here. You know, if I extend this, you know, the bed out a little bit this way or do whatever, I've got lots of room to do whatever. So I think that's the way I'm gonna do it. So my first step will be to relocate this, turn it, wire up the VFD, get a cable to run power into it, and then just do a mock-up layout. Even if I only drill 4 holes and do the best I can and maybe not be able to perfectly tension with the slots, just to get it mounted, because what I really want to do is I just want to run the thing. So I also talked to the machinist that made the small pulley for me, and I said, what do I put in these bearing surfaces on the lathe? And he said the light orange, goes, you should use like 3-in-1 sewing oil, but I read on some other forum that's not good. I said, well, I have 10 Centistokes oil. Should I use that? He goes, that'd be perfect. The lighter, the better. That should be fine. So I'm going to run with 10 Centistokes silicone-based oil. I can show that right now. That's my plan. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Anyway, so there's the 10 Centistokes pure silicone oil that I plan on putting in here. And then we just need to like mock this up and get it going. So my first thing will be to turn this, turn the junction box on there and confirm the wiring. Because again, I got this, it wasn't used, but it was installed in a piece of equipment they didn't need. And it was from my previous life because I used to sell these. And anyway, so that's why I knew that was available, so I could pick it up at a discounted price. So anyway, so I'm going to do that first, move this, and then we'll go from there to the next step. Okay, so here's the impromptu plan. So we're gonna get the lathe here, motor here, pulley on this side, this here. So I'm gonna put a couple of these small, I just chopped off a couple of, I think they're 14 inches long, to like raise it up a little bit so that the bolt heads, when they stick in the bottom to mount the motor, which is gonna go here, we can get that through. I'm hoping I'm just gonna eyeball it for now and be able to get the tension right. If not, I might have to oblong the holes. I'm gonna worry about that later. Again, I just wanna try to get things running. And then since I've got a gap now underneath, if the holes for that, the screws that bolt down the lathe go through a little bit, it's okay. And then I'm just gonna take this, I think, and I'm just gonna bolt this on the front so that this can now just sit up on the bench. I can move it up here or to side bench or whatever, and then it's not gonna go anywhere. I can kind of push into it and it's gonna stay put. Anyway, that might change. It's only scrap wood anyway, just gonna mock it up. I think it's better this way to just mock something up and get it running and then find out my mistakes before I go all in on, you know, getting an elaborate piece of wood and getting it all set up all fancy. So that is the plan. So I'm going to execute that, get that together, see if we can't mount this stuff up, and away we go. Okay, now we got the lathe mounted. I'll then see if I can't line up the motor, and hopefully we use the tension right without slotting these, just to at least see if we can get it going. I've already ordered a new belt. This is looking like I already see cracks in it. I was able to find a polyurethane 3.5mm belt, so I can use this, and I know it's going to run inside that that pulley nicely, so that's good. Okay, let's see if we can't get the motor going now. Okay, so we're close here. So I've got it on the outside here, and I think I've got the tension right on there. I'll have to see. That seems pretty good though, I gotta tell you. So I'll have to see about that. Okay, so anyway, so that's mounted. I've got that up pretty much square as I possibly can. It's a little bit difficult because I don't think this back cut out is square, and the holes, the way they're not set up in any kind of symmetrical pattern. So trying to like line things up with the little set square there, try to keep things as you know, straightforward as we possibly can. So next, we get away with mounting this up. What I want to do is I want to trim this, but since I don't know how this is all going to end up, I'll probably leave this a little bit out here, even though it's going to bug me. I could probably just tuck it back and then tuck it forward so it isn't like completely in the way. So I think I will mount this next, and then we'll get the VFD wired up to the motor, and then we'll get power to the VFD and see if we can't spin this thing up. All right, so we got the power cord wired up to here. We've got here input. This is a generic label. It's really L1 and L3, which was on this one, since it's up here on single phase. It's the L1 line and L2 neutral, black and white, and then brought the ground down there, and then ground out to the motor, UVWs, the 3 terminals out there. But again, you should do any of this at home, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not an electrician. I don't play one on the internet. So, you know, please always have it done by a qualified person anyway. So we'll get this up here. Now, the VFD needs to be configured. It needs to be set for the overload of the motor to make sure we don't overload the motor. We can get away with bumping this most likely, and we'll see if we can't get it to just briefly turn, just to say that we did. Maybe what I'll do is I'll flip the camera to the other side so you can see the lathe. I think that's maybe what I'll do. We'll clean this up before we start plugging things in, and I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know where that ended up leaving off. Okay, so anyway, so I'm going to lubricate this now, and there's just some fluff that got stuffed in one of these things. It was probably to prevent, maybe I'll bring it a little bit closer here, to prevent dust getting in, because this one's got a cap on it here, and this one's just got, I don't know if it's like an old shoelace or something, but it's just fuzz jammed in there. Get it all really in there. Man, oh man. I don't like the way it's cut on piece. I don't want any of that debris inside the bearings themselves. So I don't know if you can see that on there. I don't know if that's better. See, it's just, is it just out of sight? I think it is. Anyway, I'm gonna pull the plug. It's making the drive's making a small noise. I'm gonna try to fish out. This fuzz, which is really terrible. There we go. Now, I don't know whether I can suck it out. So I'm going to try to get a bulb, which I think I might have an older style bulb here. The problem with this one is that it only blows in, and then it's got a valve, so you don't pull the bad stuff in with you. But I'm gonna have to find that. I just want to use the blower as a reverse to just suck out any fluff that's in there. So I'm gonna go find that. I'm gonna be right back. Okay, here we go. So instead of me blowing it, I'm gonna pull this thing. I'm just gonna suck it out. I don't see anything coming out of there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so now I'm going to put 2 drops into each of these oilers. And then it says the excess will leak out. I don't think that went in there very well. There we go. Let's see if we get 2 in here. And 2. And then let's get this rolling. Get that out of the way. Just gonna stop. I'd really like to get this thing off all the way without it disassembling the end on it. Just pulled it out of the way. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll just, it says to run at kind of medium speed. And I'm just gonna wipe the excess. I don't see any coming out, so I'm gonna give it 1 more drop of oil in each just to make sure we're clearing out whatever else might be in there. And then I think we're gonna be good. Okay, let's give it another go. Okay, now I can see oil coming out in the middle. So I ran some more oil in there, and there was some coming out here. I gave a little more here, and I think we started to get a little bit out at the other side as well, but there's definitely oil coming through this, just so I've got in my mind we've got enough coming out and then into it. So I think what we do is I'm gonna clean that up, and then put the caps back on. And I think it still needs maybe a little bit of a better clean, but I think that we could actually turn something in with it now. So, all right, let's pause there and clean it up a little bit, and then we can come back to this and see what our next steps are. All right, so what I haven't done on this so far is I have not set up the motor function. So we're gonna go in here, and we're gonna put in the horsepower, which says 0.5 right now. And this is actually I thought it was a her. It's a 1/4 horsepower. So we'll go down to 0.25. Save that in there. We'll go to parameter number 3. We're gonna put the rated motor current in there at 230 volts, 60 hertz. It is 0.9 amps. And we'll save that. Slip compensation will stay the same, no lower current value. We're going to leave that as default, and motor selection 99. I'm gonna leave P99 as it is. And then we're gonna come out here. And then let's go to the next thing. Okay, we're getting somewhere on the lathe here. So I just put these little jumpers in here now and reprogrammed it so it would take that. This is just 24 volts DC available here, and the blue one is forward and the other one is reverse. So now if I make sure that's stopped, I hook up this here and then hit run, turn up the potentiometer. Then the motor itself is going clockwise, which is giving me this spin over here. So if I'm cutting something on the tool rest here, the piece is rolling over towards me. When you're burnishing, sometimes you put your burnisher underneath it and you roll it the other way. So in this case, I can stop it, pull this out, and this just allows me to do it without going to parameterization. I'm gonna get a little switch or something, but again, the idea is, and then now we're going this way, and then we can put it under here. It's gonna roll in towards the burnisher from beneath. So we now have things going great on the drive side. So so now I got the forward reverse set up. I put in the motor parameters into the drive so we're thermally protected, although this is 1/4 horsepower. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere near overloading it. And away we go. I did also get, I'm worried about that belt, and I was able to find a black poly just like this one. It fits nice in the pulley. Stop that. I just got some spare belt because I don't know the age of it. I think in one of the previous things I thought maybe was the original. I think it's probably definitely not from the 40s or 50s, but I have some belt here. Whoa, it's a lot of belt. So we've got that. That's the same diameter, and it's brand new. So I'm hoping that I can just burn and melt the ends together and make a new belt when the time comes. So I think after that, okay. So here's the base setup. I think that what I'll do is we'll get this far and we'll put out like a part 1 on like the lathe setup. I'd like to do a little bit of stuff with it and then start making a plan on what I'm going to do with this long term. I do have behind me across the room another bench. You can see back here, right there, that has a buffing machine. I've got a small milling machine, and I've got my parts cleaner there that maybe I could redo some of that, or I'm not sure how that's going to look. Maybe it might be better to install this. And I do have from this estate an actual small watchmaker's desk where this was originally installed in the left-hand side of the desk. So maybe that's what's going to happen. Anyway, so this is super exciting. I actually have a, albeit not a fancy setup by any means, a basic watchmaker's lathe now set up in my shop. It's like, woo! Anyway, that's huge. That's like the watchmaker's version of Christmas. So anyway, I'm super excited to actually do a little bit of work and just try to turn some parts on it and see what happens. Anyway, so yeah, lots of time lapse I think in this one when I actually do it up. But anyway, we're all set up for now. Yeah, this is like part 1 of who knows how many parts with me trying not to hurt myself on this thing. All right, cheers.